Good evening. How are you? Well, Thomas Jefferson tells us the temperature's 85. It's late in the evening, but I think he's right. That the humidity's 55, and why even mention it if the wind is traveling at 1.6 miles an hour? It seems a little silly, right? All of us are familiar, having read years ago or being acquainted to it recently, with the Ministry of Truth, which was kind of the ironic name in 1984 for the government organ that told us what was true, and by that token, whatever it said was true, and anything to the contrary was punishable. And today we had Secretary Peter Hegseth attack anybody who disagreed with the notion that Trump had obliterated the enriched ore that Iran had at the base of a mountain. And so this uranium that was enriched, some of us believe, and there's plenty of evidence to this effect, that all the trucks that were at that site before Trump bombed it probably removed the uranium that was enriched. And as I've said before, it's not a lot. But the interesting point is not the truth, which is more obvious than the lie, but that we have Hegseth attacking another colleague of his from Fox, Jennifer Griffin. And all she did was ask the question, but you see, you can't even ask the question, which they think implies or states the truth of the underlying matter at the subject of the matter. And so the notion that, sorry, I dropped something. The notion that there wasn't total obliteration is not tolerable to Trump, who is a great and grand warrior who has saved the world by canceling out the program that they have. Well, it's ridiculous. If they removed it, you didn't. And we have messages from Iran now that basically say, we weren't hurt that much. And there's a general consensus that all the delay in the world amounts to just a period of months, if that long. So we don't know, and Hegseth tries to say, these pilots are devastated. Well, the pilots did what they were supposed to do. You idiots made a decision when you should have had or did have intelligence that told you that there's nothing there. The pantry is empty. The stuff's gone elsewhere. So that's one subject that we're concerned about. The truth in America is what Trump says it is, and if you disagree, he'll hound you, attack you, and so on and so forth. Now, we also have Diddy's trials come to an end, and the prosecutors are telling the jury that he was above the law. Well, you wonder, Diddy must have been tempted to use the Trump defense because Trump was above the law, proven so, certainly not equal protection of the laws. So maybe somebody should have said that to the jury. And maybe they could point out that, is the difference that I play music? What is that? So he thought he was above the law. He used the same tools that Diddy did, power, violence, and fear, just like Trump does. So I guess he'll still be convicted. Pretty crazy stuff. So now the Supreme Court, what did they do? The Supreme Court thought South Carolina was entirely within its authority to cut off Planned Parenthood from Medicaid funds if it was going to go to abortions. Whoa. The decision was 6-3. It's very hard to respect a court that basically operates from a political ideology rather than following the law, seeking the precedent, seeing how it applies, studying the facts, and coming up with an opinion. But that's not our law system now. And what do you do if the Supreme Court rules against you and they're wrong and unfair and unjust? By definition, they're right because they're the last. Doesn't work well for me. In New York news, Cuomo congratulated his younger contender in the primary, but apparently he's going to stay on the ballot for the general election. So watch that space. And then Friday, which is tomorrow, I'm talking on Thursday, we've got a question of the song, Born in the USA. And the question is it constitutional? Well, actually, that's not the question, because there's no question, pardon my repetition, that the Constitution talks about born here. That's how you become a citizen. That's one of the ways you can become a citizen. So the question that they're going to try to, Trump and company, are going to try to tip the court on is, hey, what about the injunction the judge issued? Can the judge issue a nationwide injunction applying everywhere, although it's only brought and got an opinion in one location? And, of the three real justices, they've said, well, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but are you saying the president issues a directive, one of his screeds, that applies to all of America, and then a judge who considers it is stuck and limited to wherever they bring it? Nah. You got nationwide jurisdiction for an injunction like that. And why would it be otherwise? And the way the Supreme Court jurisdiction is written is that a case doesn't get to that court unless you have a case that is so exceptional it stands on its own, or there's a division between one circuit and another, and the Supreme Court becomes a tiebreaker. So the Supreme Court is taking on cases and choosing them, I think it's fair to say, for political reasons. They're honoring the fellow who brought them to the dance. And that's not American, and that's not allowable, and that's not supposed to be the way it is. So I'm losing the light, and I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you. It's been a busy day. Tomorrow I'll have more time to visit with you. And I look forward to walking the trail with you about what crazy things are going on by the idiots in Washington, the venal, terrible, clinging, backward, hateful individuals and government policies that they have. So I say goodbye to you from an open field, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.